If you've ever trusted someone with your whole heart, only to watch them walk away when you needed them most, then stay with me. Because what happened after my ex-boyfriend dumped me for being pregnant, and my best friend welcomed him into her bed and her home, was something none of us saw coming. I thought I had lost everything. I thought they had won. But karma doesn't knock loudly. It waits. And when it arrives, it makes sure you're listening. When I found out I was pregnant, I was sitting alone in my tiny bathroom, staring at 2 pink lines that felt heavier than the world. My hands trembled, not from fear of becoming a mother, but from wondering how Daniel would react. We had been together for 3 years. We talked about marriage. We talked about kids. We talked about forever. But forever, apparently, had conditions. Daniel didn't yell when I told him. He didn't panic. He just went quiet. Too quiet. He stared at the floor, then at me, and finally said, "I'm not ready for this. I can't do this." I remember laughing nervously, thinking he needed time. "We'll figure it out," I said. "We always do." He shook his head slowly. "No. You'll figure it out." Those words sliced deeper than any scream could have. Within a week, he packed his things. Within 2 weeks, he stopped answering my calls. Within a month, I saw pictures of him, smiling, carefree, at restaurants and parties. And the girl sitting beside him, holding his hand, was the one person I had cried to about his betrayal. My best friend, Alina. She had held me the night he left. She had wiped my tears. She had promised me that I was strong and that he was a fool. And all along, she had been answering his late-night texts. I didn't find out from them. I found out from social media. A picture of them together on her couch, his arm around her waist. The caption read, "Sometimes love finds you unexpectedly." Unexpectedly. I felt something inside me break, not loudly, not dramatically. Just a quiet, final crack. I wanted to confront her. I wanted to scream. But I was exhausted, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Growing a child while losing 2 people at once drained me in ways I didn't know were possible. So instead of fighting them, I chose something else. I chose my baby. The months that followed were the hardest of my life. I worked double shifts at a small bakery, hiding my nausea behind forced smiles. My feet swelled. My back ached. I cried in the storage room more times than I can count. There were nights I lay awake, terrified of doing this alone. But every time I felt my baby move, I placed my hand on my stomach and whispered, "It's you and me. And that's enough." Daniel never called. Not once. Alina never apologized. And slowly, painfully, I began to accept that some people leave not because you aren't enough, but because they aren't capable. The day my son was born, everything changed. Holding him for the first time, I realized something powerful: Daniel hadn't abandoned me. He had freed me. He had shown me exactly who he was before I tied my entire life to him. And Alina? She had revealed that friendship isn't measured by years, but by loyalty. I named my son Adam. He had Daniel's eyes, but they didn't make me sad. They reminded me that life continues, even after heartbreak. For a while, I heard nothing about them. And honestly, I stopped caring. My world revolved around diapers, midnight feedings, and tiny giggles. I found strength I didn't know I possessed. I started selling homemade cakes online after customers from the bakery encouraged me. Orders grew. Slowly, my small side hustle turned into something real. One afternoon, almost 2 years later, I was setting up a dessert table for a large engagement party. It was my biggest order yet. Elegant venue. Expensive decor. Influential guests. I was adjusting a 3-tier cake when I heard a voice I hadn't heard in years. "Hey. My body froze before my mind caught up. I turned. Daniel stood there, but he didn't look like the confident man who had walked away. His shoulders slumped. Dark circles framed his eyes. And standing a few feet behind him was Alina, arms crossed, jaw tight. I didn't speak. I just waited. I didn't know you were the baker, he said awkwardly. I didn't know you were engaged, I replied calmly, glancing at the decorations that clearly bore their names. Alina stepped forward. We didn't expect to see you. Life has a strange sense of humor. I smiled politely. Congratulations. There was an uncomfortable silence. Then Daniel said something that almost made me laugh. How's everything? Everything. I thought about the sleepless nights. The fear. The strength I had built from nothing. The son who had given my life purpose. It's good, I said simply. Really good. Alina's eyes flickered with something I couldn't quite read, jealousy, maybe. Or regret. As I finished setting up, I overheard whispers between them. Tension. Sharp tones. Not the language of a happy couple. Later that evening, as guests mingled, I saw Daniel step outside alone. He looked overwhelmed. Alina was inside, arguing with someone on the phone. Karma doesn't always explode dramatically. Sometimes it unravels quietly. A mutual acquaintance approached me while I packed up. Did you hear? She whispered. They've been fighting for months. Money issues. Trust issues. He quit his job last year. She's been supporting everything. I nodded slowly. The same man who said he wasn't ready for responsibility had found himself dependent on someone else. The same friend who betrayed me now carried the weight of a relationship built on shaky ground. As I loaded my car, Daniel approached one last time. I made a mistake, he said softly. I looked at him, not with anger, not with bitterness. Just clarity. Yes, I agreed. You did. He hesitated. Do you ever think about what could have been? I thought about my son's laughter. My growing business. The woman I had become. No, I said honestly. I think about what is. And for the first time, I saw it in his eyes, the realization that he had lost more than a girlfriend. He had lost a future built on strength, loyalty, and unconditional love. A week later, I heard the engagement was called off. 2 months later, Alina moved out of their shared apartment. 6 months later, my bakery storefront officially opened. On opening day, as I cut the ribbon with Adam in my arms, I felt something close to gratitude. Not for the pain, but for the transformation it forced me into. Because here's what no one tells you about betrayal: it can either break you or build you. And sometimes, the people who walk away clear the path for something better. Daniel left because he wasn't ready to be a father. Alina betrayed me because she wasn't ready to be a real friend. But I became a mother. I became a business owner. I became stronger than the girl who once cried on a bathroom floor. If you're watching this and your heart feels shattered right now, stay with your story. Don't chase the ones who leave. Don't beg for loyalty. Let karma handle what you can't. And while it's working in the background, you work on yourself. Because one day, you'll look back at the moment that almost destroyed you, and realize it was the moment that saved you.